Sigmund Freud was born on May 6, 1856, in Freiburg, Moravia, now Czechoslovakia. Freud was an excellent student throughout his academic career, receiving his medical degree from the University of Vienna in 1881. He spent the next 3 years as an assistant to two noted medical scientists, Hermann Knothnagel and Theodor Meinert, won a travel grant to study for a few months with Charcot in Paris, and at last ended a 4-year courtship by marrying Martha Bernays on September 30, 1886. The Freuds had 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls, with the youngest, Anna Freud, becoming a prominent child psychoanalyst and ultimately assuming the leadership of the Freudian movement. Freud's own life provided him with a great deal of psychological data. He was himself Oedipal, had powerful unconscious hostility toward his father, and was quite close to his mother. Freud was highly moral and ethical, even puritanical. Some found him cold, bitter, rejecting, the kind of man who does not suffer fools gladly, and more interested in the discoveries to be made from his patients than in themselves. Others depicted him as warm, humorous, profoundly understanding, and extremely kind. Some colleagues remained devotedly loyal to Freud throughout their lives, whereas others, including Joseph Breuer, Wilhelm Fliess, Carl Jung, and Alfred Adler, engaged in acrimonious partings because of Freud's adamant emphasis on sexuality as the prime mover of human behavior. However, successes far outnumbered failures. Freud and Breuer culminated a decade of work by publishing studies on hysteria in 1895, which described the psychological treatment of behavior disorders, paralyses, headaches, loss of speech, and so forth that had no physical cause. The interpretation of dreams, the cornerstone of Freud's theory, appeared in 1900. In 1909, Freud received an invitation to visit the United States and deliver a series of lectures at Clark University. They were well received, but he left with the impression that America is a mistake, a gigantic mistake, it is true, but nonetheless a mistake. World War I impressed on him the importance of aggression as a basic human drive, and the ensuing runaway inflation cost him his life savings, about $30,000. Fortunately, his reputation was sufficient to attract English and American patients, who paid in a more stable currency, but his hardships were not over. During the last 16 years of his life, Freud was afflicted with an extremely serious cancer of the mouth and jaw. This required no fewer than 33 operations, forced him to wear an awkward prosthesis to fill the resulting gap between what had been the nasal and oral cavities, and prevented him at times from speaking and swallowing, yet he bore this ordeal with his customary stoic courage. There he finally succumbed to cancer on September 23, 1939. Freud's death took the controversial form of an assisted suicide. He reluctantly decided that his suffering had reached the point where going on made no sense, and his doctor administered a dose of morphine that produced a peaceful sleep from which Freud never awoke. Freud named his theory of psychoanalysis. This term is also used to denote the form of psychotherapy that Freud originated. Freud originally defined the structure of personality in terms of the unconscious, preconscious, and conscious, or the id, ego, and superego. However, he found that this straightforward approach left much to be desired. And that wraps up our discussion on Sigmund Freud, one of the most influential and controversial figures in the history of psychology. His ideas about the unconscious mind, personality, and human behavior may not be perfect, but they definitely change the way we understand ourselves and the world around us. Thank you so much for spending your time watching this video. I truly appreciate your support, especially if you're also reviewing or learning alongside with me. I hope this discussion helped make Freud's theories clearer and easier to remember. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to stay tuned for our next video, where we'll continue exploring more important theories and thinkers in psychology that will help us prepare for exams and deepen our understanding. Once again, thank you for watching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.